Blu-ray disc, others backing HD DVD. People thought it would come down to pixel rate or refresh rate. What it came down to was a combination of gamers and poor.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. 4K Blu-ray is an incredible physical film and television format. The fact that we have access to films and television in such mind-blowing high quality in our own homes will never cease to amaze me. This is coming from someone who jumped onto the physical media hype train when DVDs were the highest quality format. I can't even imagine how much of an evolution 4K Blu-rays are for people who started with VHS. Are the people who started watching movies at home on Super 8 film even still with us anymore? I'm just saying that anybody who watched Star Wars at home for the first time using those crappy little Super 8 film reels that only showed selected scenes from the film probably had an aneurysm and died when they watched A New Hope on 4K Blu-ray. While the difference in quality between a VHS copy of a film compared to its 4K Blu-ray would make for an obvious example to demonstrate the evolution of home media, I find it far more interesting looking into how much home media has continued to improve even since the introduction of the DVD format in the late 90s. If we lived in a world where DVD ended up being the final home media format for film and television, I don't think we would be missing out on much. DVD introduced accurate pausing and playing, it gave us chapter selection, the larger storage capacity of the disc allowed films to be presented in better quality and meant that longer content could fit on a single storage device. Disc took up much less space than VHS's, special features and extras became a staple of the home media industry. Honestly, I would be here all day if I had to list every revolutionary feature of the humble DVD format. Long story short, DVD was such a huge upgrade over VHS and that good of a format that it's still commonly used today even though there are two other higher quality formats available for use. Over 2 decades later, DVD is still king. To be totally honest, Blu-ray wasn't anywhere near as revolutionary as DVD. Sure, it finally allowed films to be presented in true HD with improved audio for home consumption, but what else did it really bring to the table? BD Live? How's that going again? Yeah, right. And don't even mention HD DVD because I'm pretty sure that whole format was one big fever dream. When I said that it's impressive how much film physical media has continued to evolve and improve since the introduction of DVD, I'm not really talking about added features or bonuses. It's impressive to see how much the visual and audio presentation of films has continued to improve with newer formats like Blu-ray and 4K. Saving Private Ryan on DVD? I can't even make out individual hairs on Tom Hanks' face. Saving Private Ryan on 4K Blu-ray? Jesus Christ, I can see his individual pores. 4K Blu-ray looks so good that home media reviewers and critics have had to resort to bitching about things like grain structure to find faults in home media releases. You know home media has gotten really good when people are complaining about film presentation on a pixel by pixel level. We are now at a point with home physical media where we can buy versions of films that can accurately replicate the original cinema presentations of films like Indiana Jones and 2001. As good as the DVD is, it can't replicate the quality of a film print like 4K Blu-ray can. That's the real leap we've seen in physical media over the last 20-something years. Home media disc formats have gone from being a substitute for watching a film in the cinema to being the superior format in some instances. I mean, the vast majority of films are projected digitally now anyway. I'm pretty sure I can beat the image quality of most cinemas with a 4K Blu-ray being played back on an OLED TV. Well, okay, that's a bit of a stretch, but the fact that the two are even comparable pretty much sells the point I'm trying to make here. Although I will say that while home media has gotten insanely good, it still can't replicate the feeling of watching a movie in the cinema. Nothing will ever be able to replicate that, so no matter how good home media gets, it's never going to fully replace cinemas. Besides, I think Netflix has already done that for general audiences. The rise of streaming definitely poses a problem for physical media. It has certainly contributed to the falling popularity of physical media use in the mainstream. But the convenience and ease of use of streaming means that physical media has to put in the extra work to make sure that they prioritize quality over convenience. Disc-based media has two things over streaming. Ownership. A studio can pull a movie off of streaming, but they can't break into your house and steal a disc off of your shelf. Once you have a film on disc, you have it for life. The other killer feature of physical media is that 4K Blu-ray in particular offers the very best visual and audio quality that even the best internet connection and streaming service cannot match. Of course, streaming quality is so good nowadays that most people can't tell the difference between streaming and disc playback, but it's the little things that make disc-based media far superior to streaming. The solid blacks, the wider spectrum of colors, the consistent playback quality that doesn't live or die on an internet connection. While it's not much, physical media looks and sounds better than any streaming service, and it's more than enough to make the medium still incredibly valuable in the streaming age. Streaming has of course played a big part in this. Services like Netflix provide healthy competition to essentially force physical media distributors to make sure that whatever they put on disc is far and away better than the streaming version. In summary, studios have to make sure that physical releases look and sound better than what's on streaming to warrant people buying them. This focus on quality extends to every aspect of physical media production. For example, look at the difference between this DVD copy of The Virgin Suicides from 2004 compared to this Studio Canal 4K Blu-ray from 2023, which I know isn't exactly a fair comparison, but we're focusing on the evolution here. Okay, so on the left here, we have The Virgin Suicides on DVD in a version that I believe is from 2004, and on my right we have the Virgin Suicides on 4K Blu-ray in a Studio Canal release that is from 2023 as far as I believe. So obviously, first big difference between these two is that we have two entirely different formats here. DVD and 4K Blu-ray. Totally different formats, so much so that they have a format, Blu-ray, in between them. Now, obviously, first thing that stands out is that 4K obviously has much nicer packaging, and that's not to say that DVDs didn't also have really nice packaging, but it's a lot more common with 4Ks. At least that's what I feel like now. In terms of artwork, I mean, they both are striving for different things. Personally, I like the 4K version a lot more. But in terms of packaging, like, you know, it's both pretty standard stuff. This copy I bought secondhand, so if it's a bit scuffed up, a bit old, that's expected, especially since this DVD is probably about 20 years old now. Flipping them both over, it's what you would expect. DVD nonsense. It's got a list of all the special features, specs, stuff like that. But one of the biggest differences between these two releases, besides quality, is that the 4K release has way more extras and special features than the DVD. If you look here on the DVD, that's all the extra special features you get. You get a trailer, a featurette, a music video, and a photo gallery. Whereas on the 4K, you get an interview with the people who did the soundtrack, you get a little documentary revisiting the Virgin Suicides, conversations with Jeffrey Eugenides, which I believe is the guy that wrote the original the original novel, what am I saying? And, you know, Making of the Virgin Suicides, and you get a short film, Lick the Star, which I'm assuming is from Sophia Ford Coppola. And, you know, one big difference between these two, of course, is that the 4K also has a slipcover, which, I mean, look, that alone makes this packaging way better than the DVD, but, of course, that's to be expected. Opening them up on the DVD, you just get the standard movie on the disc, all your special features, everything, it's right on there. Standard stuff, whereas the 4K, why did I put the slipcover back on? Two disc here. You get the 4K disc and you get the Blu-ray disc, which, you know, lately we're seeing a lot more releases just have the 4K disc, but for most purposes, having the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc available in the same package is pretty standard. What usually happens too is that the 4K has the feature film and the Blu-ray holds, well, a lower quality version of the feature film plus all the extras and all that nonsense. So yeah, what's changed between these two formats in almost 20 years? I mean, look, after DVD, every different format that's come out, it's basically just been an evolution of DVD. But the main thing we're seeing is that picture and audio have dramatically improved over the years. Like, it's apples and oranges between these two in terms of what's better quality. But in terms of stuff like packaging, obviously, I reckon just even with 4Ks, you have much nicer, firmer cases compared to DVD cases, which range, but a lot of them can feel quite flimsy and old in comparison. But yeah, so that's basically 20 years difference between the same film on two different formats. Simple stuff. Of course, the luxurious high quality offered by formats like 4K Blu-ray warrants a very good question. If streaming is good enough, then what do formats like 4K Blu-ray offer general audiences who aren't collectors that care about pixel perfect film presentation? I'd be lying if I said that physical media was the best option for everyone, because the truth is that streaming does work perfectly for most people. But even for those content with streaming, the ownership that premium formats like Blu-ray and 4K offer is what makes them valuable to ordinary people. Your favorite movie might be on Netflix right now, but it won't be forever. You can save yourself a lot of time and effort by just buying your favorites on disc. And if you want to own these movies, then surely you want the best version available. That's the power that premium physical media provides general audiences. Physical media is true ownership. So where do we go from here? Can physical media get any better than this? Are we going to see a better format after 4K Blu-ray? Maybe. Blu-ray endured as the dominant format for almost 10 years before 4K came out, and 4K is still a couple of years away from beating that feat, so I wouldn't rule out 8K disc just yet. But I mean, come on, do you even know anyone who owns an 8K TV? Can the human eye even notice the difference between 4K and 8K? It's not a question of if we can make 8K disc. It's a question of should we. I think this is it for the time being, and I'm happy with that. I mean, Jesus, can movies even look any better beyond 4K Blu-ray? Do they even need to? I'm still trying to count Tom Hanks' paws. If Saving Private Ryan starts looking any better, it'll have me believing that Tom Hanks is actually in my house. With all that being said, what do you guys think about the current state of physical media? Have we continued to see significant improvements after DVD? Was the introduction of Blu-ray and then 4K Blu-ray warranted? Are we ever going to get another format? Do you guys collect physical media, or are you streaming people? I know a lot of people have a lot of very strong opinions on this topic, so I would love to get your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. It means the world to me. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video.